changes every day, because everyone has different motivation levels, and I mean, other people may have way higher expectations of what best is and what they can do in a day, so everyone's different.
Well, it's interesting, and I just started the recording. Sorry, I didn't tell you that, because I think it's a
Yeah.
very important discussion to have as a whole, even though it's only a few of us. But this last time now, we gotta, bear down on getting the motivation back. So I think there is an argument to be made to be a little extra kind to one another and ourselves, more than one another. We should be kind to one another anyway. But ourselves, maybe take a little extra break or something, because it is hard to push through. And the other thing is, I also want to let everybody know how proud I am of all of us to push through in these times. And so, keep that in mind too. It's when we do it, it's a pride versus a failure when we can't, because it's very easy to have negative speak to ourselves. These are things that trigger that. And I think we're all doing a fantastic job. Well, at least what I'm seeing you guys are doing is really a good job. And it's interesting, there's also discussion now about the 4-day work week versus a 5-day work week, where they're doing studying in the 32-hour thing. And they do a lot of that in England. And in the discussion, it comes up that, the productivity level of people is about 3 hours a day on average. And that's important to keep in mind. It's like, if I have a low day and it's like 6 hours, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
So, cool. No, you guys are doing great work, and we're just getting down to the nitty gritty. Hi, Grisha.
Good morning.
Good morning. Are there any questions so far, or this last week, or concepts or things you want to talk about? If anybody, before we kind of go into what I want to talk about?
No, not really, because I texted you my question and you replied. So
I added the micelles. That's good. I mean, I basically was looking for fat molecules to be absorbed in the lymphatics. But the micelle needs to be in the answers too, because that's the means of it. So thank you for bringing that up. I added it onto the answers.
Okay, yeah, because I was looking at it and I was like really like trying to get the right answer, because I was like, for those, like, you have to type those, you have to make sure
you've got to type it in.
Yeah, and so like I was looking and I was like, it said fat and all of those ones that create it, but I was like specifically looking for what is that particle that travels through the blood and goes through all that. So I was like,
that was great, because I changed it. I added it on, and that, I lay the answers, all the answers I can lay behind. But obviously, it's great for you guys to reach out, because even though I've done these questions, I don't know, now more than 5 years ago, stuff still comes up.
Yeah, no, I was like,
and eat those insults, to make it better.
Pouring over the booklets, and I was like, what is the answer? And I was like, it can't be that simple.
Right, it was much simpler. I know. So no, we figured that out. Anything else that was last week that you guys came up or want to talk about? How are you guys with the nervous system? That stuff pretty all right?
Yeah, I just got to study it a little more before the test, so I can make sure.
That's okay. No, that's okay. But nothing like overtly that you're like, I just didn't get that at all, and I need to talk about it. Nothing like that. Okay. And if something comes up, you just shoot me a text. We'll deal with it at that point. No big deal. So if that's the case, let me just go right into it. And how the world is this going to work? Hold on. I try to share my week with you here. Well, this was week respiratory. This is last week's. But we still got open doing the food journaling. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, that is finishing up in December. So we are in the food journaling department at this point. So that's good. A couple of people finished that already, but that's this week as well for many of us. So you guys, and then when we and that simply, I don't know if I talked last week about the food journaling already. Stop me if I did. But what I would like for us to do for 5 days, like more or less. Write down what we eat. And I'm doing a nutrition class right now, and there it's all about counting calories and counting this and that in my plate. And it's like, okay, by the time I figure out what I want to do, I'm not going to be able to eat anything. Because I had to take Brussels sprouts out of my meal plan because they had too much sodium, but I thought Brussels sprouts are healthy. So it's like really interesting, but a little bit like mental, I think, too much. And so what I want to do is something here, not like as extensive as in a nutrition class, but be a little bit more on the journaling side, because it has shown that writing down things like what kind I eat with whom and what time and what activity I do and what I feel, how my mood is, that is, to me, way more important than counting calories, for example. So as you do this exercise, I'm interested in both components, obviously, also what, but much more in many ways in how are we feeling when we do the eating, or who are we with, or what are we doing? Are we mindlessly watching TV or in the car, or are we actually focusing on the food that we eat? Because I think, and I'm sure there's a lot of ample research out there at this point, that the state of mind is a very important component of how nutrition can be absorbed, for example. Anyway, lots of you guys have probably worked through this a little bit already, but I wanted to just do it one more time, talk about it, and then once you've done that, there is a few questions I want you to ponder and just write a little bit about. Nothing too fancy. It's one of those health kit integrations. Is that sensible, or you guys have a question with that? No feedback sounds, no question, unless everybody left. I hope not. And then we do this week, and this week is about nutrition more, but I did put in a chapter on nutrition where I go through the basics of nutrition stuff, and it's fundamental, but it's pretty good. And I think I do one video actually in costume. Look at that. So you gotta watch that one. It was around Halloween one year, I guess. And I'm still using this container to make my smoothies. But look, it's not that much. It's talking about the overview, what is energy and food and so forth. Then we talk about metabolism a little, and we go through the macro, micronutrients, overview-y. Do some screenshotting on that. Or if you have the booklet, keep that chapter for the booklet, because actually a lot of my patients I give that to, and they really get info out of it. So that's the first half. And then the second half of this chapter is the kidney, the urinary system. And we'll go through that chapter. That's how we create the pee, how we filter the water, the liquid part of the body, fluids, the blood, and then create pee. And it talks about that process, going through it. Then also in the kidneys, we also have blood pressure mechanisms in there. So I want you to learn a little bit about that. So that's kind of cool in there. But again, not fairly linear in terms of what's going on, especially compared to the nervous system. I mean, not to undermine that it's not important and not really cool. I think it's a very cool organ. And by the way, next Monday, this week we're not in lab, but next week we're going back to lab, and then we're dissecting a kidney there. And then what else do we got going on here? The kidneys have a labeling with it. And then after that, we have the discussion of the food journal, but that's not due till the 11th. I want to give ample time of that. And also in terms of pathology project, at the end, what we do is I want us to take our videos and sell them to somebody else to watch. So, have an introduction, say, hey, this is what we did, and we did really a good job with this and that, and then you post the video. It's a discussion forum, and then I want you to watch somebody else's video and learn something about a different pathology, but also learn about making the video and give your classmates, your peers, some feedback that helps them make a bit of a better video next time. Just some hints that come up with that. But I describe everything more or less here, what I want you to do with that. But at the end, it's just a discussion about each other's videos, watching them learn something and give each other a couple of pointers to help the next time around, since this is sort of for many of us the beginning of college, and presentations is a big deal within the college world. I'm sure you know that. Well, I don't want to make you afraid. It's actually kind of cool. It's just an art to learn. Okay, so, but that's not due again till the 11th. So I want to give people this week still time to upload their videos, finish up their project. If you've done so, you can go start in there and start the discussion forum, but it's not due until the 11th of December, which is basically the last week before finals week. Okay, so that's pretty much all that I think we got going on this week. It's not too heavy. It's a good time to, you know, go back in the material, look at the test review a little bit, and check off all the points and make sure you understand those points. Catch up with some of the stuff that you haven't been able to finish yet. And reach out to me if you have any questions or need any guidance. That not everything is last minute at the end. So we'll use this period of time now to sort of finish up the class properly and catch up. And I do expect some of you guys to reach out to me that I can help you in that process in terms of time management or prioritization is probably more what I can help you with. Okay, any questions to all of that? Pretty straightforward, right? Good. Well, with that, I wish you a wonderful week. And again, shoot me a text if you have something come up or want to chat about a topic or so. I'm around here for you guys. Okay? Good. Have a good one.
Thank you. Oh, is it lab today?
No lab today. We'll be back next week one more time.
No lab today.
No
Okay.
lab today.
No lab this week.
No lab this week. That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
One
you.
more time.
See you next week.
See you next week.
Next week. Have a good
Bye.